This is the Electorate Political Talk Radio candidate conversation with Prince Cleveland, candidate for Alabama House District 43. We are back. What's going on, brother?
Oh, how you doing, Mac? I'm great. How about you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. It's good to be back on the air, man. And a
I know,
lot has changed, hasn't
oh
it?
yeah, I know. I'm in a different mode now, huh?
That's right. That's right. Well, man, let's get right to it. Uh, Tell us about yourself, man. Introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, Prince Cleveland, and I say I won't say former co-host, but I'm just in another role right now. But I
That's right.
did the show with Mac with the Electorate before, but now
That's
I'm
right.
coming in another role as a candidate for Alabama House District 43. Uh, and like I said, grew up in the city of Bessemer, which is just outside of Birmingham. Uh, went to college at the University of Alabama. And then after that, I started working for political campaigns, nonprofit organizations, and now I'm working in the private sector right here in Shelby County. This is where I live. This is where I work, and this is where I've built a life. So I
Okay.
I just wanted to just wanted to make sure that I contribute to my home here in Shelby County.
Well, now let me ask you this, Prince. What should we know about Prince, the man,
Well,
not just the candidate? You know.
Well, again, I'm just an ordinary guy, an ordinary citizen that just wanted to make a difference where I live, right here in Shelby County. I was given this opportunity to seek this office, for a House Representatives District 43, because I just got tired of just commenting on on posts on social media, just talking to family and friends about things that needed to change, and not doing anything about it. So I just
You
felt that
getting
it
in
was
the ring now? That's what I'm talking about.
time. Yeah, yeah, basically. I
Got
mean,
in the
just
arena.
yeah. Like I said, I just got tired of sitting on the sidelines, just talking about things that needed to happen, and then just getting out there on the field and making it happen. So here I am. I'm offering myself as a choice for the voters of District 43, and just hopefully we can make a difference down in Montgomery.
Well, man, we proud of you, man. Proud to be on this journey with you. And let me tell you, everybody that's come up here has won their race.
All right,
The
from your mouth to
electorate
God's ear.
is undefeated. So you
Hey,
got to keep the streak going, man.
hey, like I said, that's why I'm here, because, like I said, this is where you can have like a pretty good platform to get uh, your your message out, your issues out, and so hopefully we can be successful in November and then make a difference down in Montgomery at the state capitol in January.
So let me ask you, how did you decide, to run for office? What drove you to this decision?
Well, I was kind of thinking about it for a while, but then just a couple of people approached me about running for
Mm-hmm.
this particular seat here in Shelby County. The thing is, this seat it's mostly a what you call a red district. It's historically Republican, and I'm running as a Democrat here in Shelby County. But the thing is, a lot of the people that did ask me to run for this seat, they felt that they're not being heard from the current representative and just from the representatives in general in Montgomery right now, because right now there's a Republican supermajority and they're not listening to their constituents. So
Right, right,
again, I
right.
wanted to offer myself as an alternative here for the voters of this district, as someone that will um, bring have a listening ear for the people's concerns here, and then take them down to Montgomery and actually give some action on those issues.
So you're running in Shelby County. You talk about how it's but that's the district that you're running in. What areas does it actually cover? Because I've actually talked to some people, and they actually live in your district and didn't even know it. I've got a
Exactly.
couple of friends that live, close to Hoover, but they're actually in House District 43. So geographically, what areas does it cover?
Well, generally, it's in North Shelby County. It's entirely in the northern part of Shelby County. If you would look at the county line from Jefferson County and Shelby County on Highway 280, It just moves on
Right.
across to the outside of the city of Chelsea, and then it goes down south. If you're familiar with the area over here, it's Valleydale Road and Cahaba Valley Road.
Right.
If it
Right.
goes straight down south through there, and then it hits the cities of Hoover, Pelham, Helena, and the entire village of Indian Springs. And I guess a couple of landmarks that I can tell people where, so they can kind of understand where the area is like there's Oak Mountain High School, and then there's Spain Park High School. So more than likely, if you live around those two areas, you can vote for me here in District 43.
And see, I guarantee you there are people that live in your district and may not even know it.
And
So
and actually, people that I do know, they've come to me and they've told me that like they actually live within this district right here in the
right,
North Shelby
right.
County, and and like again, that shows you that we are here. There's a diverse voter pool here, and then they're hungry for for change. So again, I'm offering myself as that change.
Good deal. Well, hey, you know, on the electorate, we don't play around. So we finna get to the business. You know what I'm
Uh
saying?
oh, uh oh. I know.
There's a lot of controversy surrounding the issue of abortion in America right now. Of course, it was recently overturned by the Supreme Court. You know, you could say they have a supermajority as well. There's kind of a 6-3 conservative split on the Supreme Court. They overturned Roe v. Wade, essentially leaving the issue of abortion to the states. And a lot of states had some trigger laws. I think Alabama is one of them that immediately banned abortion. I think Alabama bans abortion except in the instance where the mother's life is in danger, but they don't make any exceptions for rape and incest. So, to be clear, what is Prince Cleveland's position on abortion?
Well, my my uh, choice on that is that I want to get the government out of the choices of women. You know, make sure that women have the right to make their own healthcare choices, and it shouldn't be in the hands of a legislature or a judiciary. If a
Right, right, right.
woman want to have that, if they need to have that decision, if they want to make that decision, that should be between them, their family, and their doctor. And me, and hopefully, if I'm elected, me and the other 104 members of the House of Representatives, we shouldn't make that choice for them.
Right.
The
One
again,
thing
like
we saw too is in the state of Kansas, which you could say is a blood red state, they voted overwhelmingly to maintain women's rights in terms of abortion. You saw Lindsey Graham came out today trying to provide a little bit of cover, I think, for Senate Republicans because they know that the majority of Americans support women's rights on this issue. Do you trust the legislature, to decide this for women?
well, as many things that are brought to the voters of this state, we're always bringing particular issues to the ballot for people to decide on, and this shouldn't be any different. Um, Throughout the years and throughout a lot of election cycles, we've always had like some sort of amendment on the ballot that dealt with limiting a woman's right to make her own healthcare choices. And usually, it's just more like just window dressing. It was just something to bring out the Republican base to bring their voters out. But now it's real. And I think that now, since it's a real thing, it's something that we can actually look at, something that's concrete. The people of the state, whether they're Democratic, Republican, liberal, or conservative, I I have I can trust that they will actually make the right choice. That they will maintain that a woman will have the right to make her own healthcare choices. So I think we should bring it up to a vote of the people of Alabama, and I think that the people of Alabama will speak with one voice on that.
A good deal. Well, let's get into some other issues since we got that one out of the way, right?
Okay.
What do you specifically want to see change in your district and in the state of Alabama?
Well, again, I believe that the supermajority down in Montgomery, that's the Republican supermajority, they have ignored the voters of this district and they've ignored the voters of the state. And I've based my campaign on three different things that we should, three different issues that I feel that we all have commonality, wherever we fall politically, ideologically, racially, or whether it's income or whatever. But I feel that I know those issues are that do have that commonality, and is dealing with education, dealing with healthcare, and dealing with the economy. With the economy, I know that we should get rid of the state sales tax. That's something that we've been trying to do for years. As in healthcare, we need to expand Medicaid so that we can provide healthcare for those who most need it, and that can save that and save the economies of different rural areas throughout the state. And in education, I feel that we should focus on the student and not just the building or the institution, but truly focus on the student so that they can have the opportunities to succeed and to uh, maintain their talents here in the state of Alabama instead of taking them outside of the state.
Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. So I know we talk a lot about eliminating the grocery tax. What are some of your concerns about, that the Alabama public have with the grocery tax, and how do you replace that revenue if you get rid of that particular tax? Because I'm all for lowering taxes, but sometimes you get into that situation of trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, right? So tell us about the burden that the grocery tax has on Alabama citizens, particularly with inflation, and how um, you would look at replacing that revenue and all the issues surrounding that grocery tax.
Well, Alabama is probably one of the seven states throughout the entire country that charges grocery tax at its full level. And there has been a movement over the years to remove the grocery tax. In this past legislative session, there was a move from a Republican senator and a Democratic representative to finally make a move on that. And there was hopes that that would actually pass this past legislative session, but again, the Republican supermajority nixed that. And again, one of the main reasons, well, one of the main excuses that a lot of the legislators have said that why they did not want to get rid of the grocery tax is that it would cause a hole in the education budget. But we should make sure that we fulfill that budget by making sure that there's one solution that happened on this past legislative session is that we get rid of the federal income tax federal income tax deduction. That would probably affect like the wealthiest Alabamians, and so that would probably be a tax hike for them, because for the most wealthiest Alabamians, but for the for regular Alabamans, that would be a tax cut for whether they're low income or middle income. Again, like I said, the grocery tax basically affects all Alabamians, and then but it mostly affects those who are on the lower income spectrum. But should be the right thing to do, because given the prices of groceries right now, and the burden that the tax gives puts on regular Alabamians, the time is now to finally eliminate the grocery tax.
Good deal. So now let's talk a little bit about education. I know we were having a conversation this morning, a heated heated debate among our team regarding education, the cost of education in the state, um, and also kind of this war between trade versus vocational type skills, manual labor jobs. We know college isn't for everybody, right?
Mhm.
But the focus shouldn't necessarily be for us to make that decision. We need to prepare our young people for a variety of careers, whether it's college, whether it's military, whether it's workforce. So, talk a little bit about the status of education um, in the state of Alabama.
Well, it is a ever-going issue here in the state of Alabama. That's something that we've always talked about at every election on every level here in the state and in the nation. When I was knocking on doors, canvassing different neighborhoods, I came across a couple of teachers, and one of those teachers, his name is Jordan. He's from Florida, and he's teaching here in Alabama. And I asked him, I said, "What type of issues that you feel that we need to focus on here in the state of Alabama as it pertains to education?" And of course, he couldn't wait to tell me. He said that we here in Alabama are like far behind the eight ball on other states. And he also said that he wished that the state of Alabama would actually put more of an emphasis on trade and vocational education. Again, as you said before, we put a premium on pushing our students to just consider 4 year education in college, but we should make sure that we ensure that they have different areas that they can focus on, that where they could feel that they can build a life here in the state of Alabama. We want to make sure that they have the opportunities to keep their talents here in the state instead of going off to and then causing a brain drain here in the state of Alabama. And I wanted to make sure that we have the funds available to consider those programs here in our public school system to ensure that they have those choices to consider, like such as vocational education or co-ops or things of that nature, just to expand their horizons to ensure that they have a choice, an
Right.
opportunity to succeed here in the state.
Good deal. Good deal. Because there were a lot of things that when we were in high school, and I don't want to talk about how long ago that was, but there were a lot of opportunities that our young people had, and for whatever reason, a lot of those classes have been removed.
Yeah,
And so you almost have to go to a junior college or a trade school to get them now, whereas you could have got them in high school. I know I took typing. I was at 60 words a minute as a college freshman.
oh, you're bragging. You're bragging.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I had business computer application that taught me all the Microsoft skills, and fortunately, in today's climate, most of that stuff, they can get that at home, I suppose. So maybe they're still getting a lot of that
Well,
that we had to go sit in the classroom about.
because I because I remember when I was in high school, we had a trade school that was right there on campus, and
Yes,
a lot of students they would leave like when they I think in their senior year they could leave campus around 1 o'clock and actually go to an apprenticeship where they would actually
right.
like basically earn a living that way and then learn the trade that they're uh, wanting to get into. So if I'm sure that's not very widespread across the state now, but it should be because it would give our students more of an option to decide where they want to go. Whether, like you said, if it's just whether to a 4 year college or to a continued education in a trade school or get into the working world with their own career. But we should just offer those opportunities to them so that they can have the chance to succeed and then to really realize the American dream.
Well, now there's a lot of controversy. What about paying for college? Should we have a lottery? Should we have casinos, etc.? You see a lot of these programs flourishing in other states. I always joke that Alabama is sitting in the middle of all these states we sending money to. Tennessee, Georgia,
Yeah,
Mississippi, Florida, for whether it's lotteries, whether it's casinos. And we have casinos in the state. They're just on Native American reservations. So
exactly.
what's your view on paying for college and paying for education?
Well, again, one of my conversations with a voter here in the in my district, he told me that he's a Trump Republican. He couldn't vote for a Democrat. But and I told him that I'm running for the Alabama House of Representatives because he said that he didn't really care much about the state government, so he was willing to give me a listen. And I told him that I wanted to eliminate the grocery tax, and then he said that you got me right there. So he was willing to listen to me further. And he also said that he supported a state lottery. And we know generally when we talk about the lottery, we think that conservatives they're not wanting to do that because it's gambling or anything like that. But he wished that we did have a lottery because he had a daughter that was going to college, and he wished there was a way that the state could actually provide like no free tuition, so that he wouldn't have to worry about paying for a tuition. So that's something that we could consider here in the state of Alabama is to finally institute a lottery to provide tuitions for our students here in the state. Uh, the thing is, we're surrounded by the lottery now, from Mississippi, Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia. But I believe that we can still gain some income from a lottery if we did it now. But it may not be as large as we could have done it if we did it, 10, 20 years ago. But we still could have a supplemental flow of revenue coming into the state so that we can provide those things for our students, such as tuition to our 4 year colleges or to trade schools here in the state, or just provide a supplemental revenue for our education fund so that we can provide things for our K through 12 students here in the state.
Right, because you had Tennessee that has Tech College that's free for everybody. You have the Georgia program. I know it doesn't cover as much as it did before because just for the sheer volume of people that are applying for it. But I think that covers what free tuition.
Yeah, and from
Um,
what I remember, the Hope scholarships, it covered tuition. It was tuition free for all Georgia students attending was the public schools there in the state. And I believe
mhm,
that from the last time I checked, it was like $29 billion that have gone uh, into
mhm.
the Hope Scholarship Fund from the Georgia Lottery. And in this past year, Mississippi instituted the state lottery, and that was a while back that they actually put maybe about $120 million into the Mississippi budget that they can actually use for different things to in their state. So it's a no-brainer. Like I said, I think Alabama's basically behind the eight ball on that. Like I said, we've kind of the Johnny come latelys on that, but we will
Right,
still get in the game and make sure that we have supplemental income to provide programs for our students and our citizens here in the state.
right. Because I wish we could calculate the amount of Alabama dollars
It's
that has
insurmountable.
gone to these other states, and we sitting right here in the middle of all of them. And also the money that's going to the Native American reservations.
Yeah.
So
But again, that goes with the women's choice issue. We should bring that to the voters for a vote, and we should. We've been trying for years to bring the lottery to a vote here in the state of Alabama. So we should finally just bring that to the people and let the people decide.
okay. Well, aside from voting, what do you tell people to stay engaged?
Well, I tell them that a lot of people feel that this seat is unwinnable because it's in the middle of a red county. It's a red district, and I'm a Democrat running in that district. But the thing is, there are about 447 Democrats running for House seats here in the state of Alabama, 105 seats. Uh, the thing is, like, if we want every seat, we couldn't still get a majority, but we can definitely break the supermajority, ensure that we can provide debate on issues down in Montgomery to ensure that we continue to make changes here in the state of Alabama. But again, that if we have to be engaged and make sure that we are voting for those, as I say, common sense Democrats to go down to Montgomery and then provide voice to those issues that we feel that we're being left out of because of the Republican supermajority. Um, I know my grandmother always said that that a lot of people they don't have like they what they call the we say don't have not just common sense but don't have walking around sense, right? So it's finally time to just finally elect some of those representatives who will go down there with some walking around sense and actually make some changes down in the legislature in Montgomery.
Well, talk a little bit about Medicaid, and I know you're in favor of expanding it. What's your view on Medicaid and how it'll benefit the citizens of the state of Alabama?
Well, I know that from my conversations with a lot of voters, even here in Shelby County, there may not be a lot of residents here that have to apply for Medicaid, but a lot of people are favorable for expanding Medicaid here. And a lot of people, and there were some people told me, why would I talk about that here and I guess it's sort of an affluent area. But the thing is, it affects us, and whether we take part in the program or not, because it is the right thing to do to ensure that the people that can least afford healthcare can have the opportunity to apply for Medicaid so that they can get the most basic of healthcare needs. But the other major reason why we should expand Medicaid here in the state is to ensure that people who live in our rural areas and our underserved areas, to ensure that their hospitals and their healthcare uh, uh, buildings stay open. Because if a hospital closes in a rural area or an underserved area, not only will the citizens of the area not have access to just the basic health care, but it will affect the economy. It will affect the economic picture of that community. So just making sure that the community hospital is open and thriving. It ensures that that community is healthy and thriving. Right here in Shelby County, I'm probably 5 minutes away from a top hospital here on Highway 280, and then I can go down to Birmingham, downtown Birmingham, and hit three other hospitals. But there are many areas throughout the state where they're not so lucky. They'll have to go to 1 hour, one half hour and a half, or 2 hours just to go to a hospital just to take care of their most basic healthcare needs.
Yeah, and definitely that's a huge issue because these hospitals are closing. You got people in the Wilcox County area. They have a small hospital there that can, put a band-aid on you so a helicopter can try to take you to Selma or
And
Mobile or Montgomery.
And then there's a
And
hospital in Pickens County that's closed, and I saw a petition from people out there in Pickens County that's been petitioning and trying to reopen that hospital. So it affects us like more dramatically, even if we are close to a hospital where we can at least go, access healthcare. But even if we can do that, we are still affected by the areas that don't have that access to the basic
right,
healthcare needs.
because COVID-19 exposed a lot of gaps in our
Exactly.
healthcare system. And you'll find that there are certain machines that can keep you alive that they only have in Birmingham and Mobile and maybe
Exactly.
Montgomery. Certain types of dialysis, the regular dialysis, and then they
Hmm.
got what you call CRRT. And
Hmm.
those rural hospitals don't have it. Selma doesn't have it. And they got to put you in an ambulance and put you on a helicopter to try to get you to these major hospitals. And if you have to um, travel a long distance to get to these hospitals,
Yeah,
you could
because
die. Your life
you're
is in
right.
jeopardy.
And as I said before, like I said, not only does that hurt like the economic picture of those communities, like, it's just the right thing to do because societies are judged by how we treat the least of these,
Right.
and it's just the right thing to do to ensure that the people who can least afford healthcare, to ensure that we all are that is all available to all of us, so that we can have a healthy society and a healthy state.
Yeah, like you said, with economic development, if I'm looking for a job and there's some manufacturing plant in the boonies and I got to
Yeah,
bring a family, I'm looking at the education system. I'm looking at the hospitals. I'm looking
exactly.
at if something happens, how fast can I get to a major hospital? So I think that's something, that's something that we have to look at. We're looking at the internet and
Hmm.
fiber optic cables and things of
Yeah,
that nature.
expanding broadband throughout the state so that
Yes.
everyone, especially with he's right with COVID-19, a lot of students were not able to access their education during that time because they just weren't close
Right.
to a place where they could access the internet. So there are many things that we can focus on if I'm fortunate enough to be elected to the state legislature. But again, I'm be one representative, but I'll be one representative that will be fighting for the people here in my district and for the state of Alabama.
And then there's so many federal funds that are available that we haven't used adequately. Our governor wants to use them to build prisons instead of
Mhm.
schools and healthcare facilities. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know if I'm old fashioned, but I mean, if we have funds that were meant to care for our citizens through COVID-19, or to head off the next
Or
great
even just
pandemic,
infrastructure?
or just infrastructure. You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm old fashioned, but I feel that we should just actually spend that on the citizens instead of just building more prisons. Uh, Again, our prison system is, in disarray, and there has been talk that we probably do need to build some more prisons. But the
But
thing
then there
is,
are
but we
people in
shouldn't do
there
it
for
like that.
nonviolent crimes that probably
Exactly.
shouldn't be there.
And again,
So
and then that's was the pardon and paroles board. They haven't really been on the job to listen to prisoners making a petition to be paroled from prison. So there's many ways that we can do to alleviate the stress on our prison system. But if that money was meant for to care for the welfare of our citizens here, we should focus that money on education, on health, on infrastructure, things that will build up the infrastructure of the state instead of just building a building of prisoners just to warehouse them and without any rehabilitation or without any a prospect of rehabilitation after they are released from prison.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, Prince, man, I appreciate you coming on the
Oh, that's
Electorate
all? Oh
Political
no,
Talk Radio candidate
no.
conversation. We ain't done. Hold on, we ain't done. I want to give you your closing remarks. I'm in Shelby County. I walk into that voting booth. I got to choose between Prince Cleveland and Arnold Mooney. We hadn't talked much about him. We ain't gonna talk much about him tonight. Maybe that's on the next episode. But for those people that's hell bent on just bubbling in that R, we got a lot of straight ticket voting. But in Shelby County, you may need a little bit of crossover. So you're gonna have to force some folks to bubble in every other R, but they gotta vote that 1D for Prince Cleveland. What are you telling those folks, and how do you get uh, them to vote for you? What are your closing thoughts?
Well, I asked all of those voters, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, or Independents, are you better off now than you have been? Uh,
Woo! Preach.
well, the thing is, like my opponent, Arnold Mooney, he's been on the forefront of limiting a woman's right to make her own health care choices. He's been at the forefront of limiting health care for the least of these here in the state of Alabama. He's been at the forefront of just about everything nefarious that the Republican supermajority has done in the state legislature over the past 8 years. Again, I ask you, are you better off than you have been in the past? So again, a vote for Prince Cleveland would be a vote to ensure that your voice is heard and your issues will be taken care of in the state legislature. If you wanted to read up more about me, you can go to my website at princeforalabama.com. That's spelled out Prince FOR Alabama.com. You can follow me on social media through Instagram and Facebook at Prince for Alabama, and you can follow me on Twitter at Prince the number 4 Alabama. Again, my name is Prince Cleveland. I am a Democrat running in a district here in as we call Red Shelby County. It's a uphill battle, but it's not insurmountable. Especially if I can have everyone that feels uh, that come out and vote for some another choice, another vision for this district, and another vision for the state. So again, vote for Prince Cleveland. If you're a Republican and you like your voting for other Republican candidates, you can go down the ballot, vote for your other, circle in your straight ticket, and come down and vote for Prince Cleveland for Alabama House District 43. Again, I ask you for your vote, and I hope I earned it, and I hope I will continue to earn it up until November 8th.
Amen. Well, I'd like to thank all of our viewers, whether you're viewing live or whether you came back and viewed later on. We're going to post this, it'll be viewable on YouTube, Facebook. We'll send the link wherever. So a lot of people that viewed it live, it's going to be out there. So we
Oh yeah.
appreciate you watching. And thank you for coming online, man. Thank you for coming on
Well,
the show.
well, again, thank you for having me, and then like I said, hopefully we can do this again, either as a
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
so hopefully if I'm the elected representative for this district, maybe we can come on and talk about issues that are going on in Montgomery.
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it, brother. This has been the Electorate Political Talk Radio with Prince Cleveland. Candidate conversation. Candidate for Alabama House District 43. Let's get it. Peace.